What if I told you that the most dangerous people aren't the ones who show their power openly, but the ones who hide it behind a mask of virtue? Niccolo Machiavelli, one of history's most misunderstood thinkers, never encouraged cruelty for its own sake. Instead, he revealed a chilling truth about human nature. Those who understand manipulation, deception, and control are the ones who quietly shape the world. The most dangerous individuals are not impulsive tyrants. They are the ones who can make you trust them, while silently orchestrating your downfall. Machiavelli's The Prince isn't a guide on how to be evil. It's a brutally honest examination of power. He argued that the most successful rulers are those who master the art of appearing moral, while being ruthless when necessary. The greatest threat does not come from someone who openly declares themselves your enemy, but from those who pretend to be on your side, while slowly tightening their grip on your decisions. This is why politicians, corporate leaders, and even close acquaintances who operate with a Machiavellian mindset are far more dangerous than anyone wielding a sword. One of the most effective strategies Machiavelli described is the mask of virtue. People who seek power understand that if they were completely honest about their ambitions, others would resist them. So instead, they present themselves as compassionate, humble, and trustworthy. This false image allows them to disarm suspicion and gain influence effortlessly. Many historical figures mastered this technique. Leaders admired for their wisdom, who behind closed doors were relentless strategists, eliminating anyone who stood in their way. But here's the real danger. Machiavellian tactics aren't limited to kings and politicians. They exist in everyday life. The manipulative coworker who always plays the victim, but somehow controls office dynamics. The charming individual who slowly isolates you from others, just to increase their influence over you. The friend who seems supportive, but subtly undermines your confidence, piece by piece. These people operate in the shadows. And by the time you realize their true nature, it's often too late. Most people think of psychopaths as serial killers or criminals lurking in the dark. But what if I told you the most dangerous psychopaths don't break the law? They make the rules. Dr. Robert Hare, the leading expert in psychopathy, discovered something terrifying. Many of the world's most successful and influential figures exhibit psychopathic traits. They walk among us, blending seamlessly into society, climbing the ranks of power, and manipulating without remorse. They aren't the monsters from horror films. They are CEOs, politicians, and authority figures who quietly pull the strings, completely devoid of empathy. Unlike ordinary criminals, high-functioning psychopaths don't rely on brute force. They thrive on deception, manipulation, and charm. Hare's research revealed these individuals are masters of impression management. They know exactly what to say, how to act, and how to make you trust them without question. They have no guilt, no emotional depth, and no ability to form genuine connections. But they can fake it flawlessly, and that makes them far more dangerous than someone who acts out of anger or desperation. One of the key traits Hare identified is a complete lack of conscience. Psychopaths can exploit, lie, and destroy lives without feeling the slightest hint of guilt. To them, other people are nothing more than pieces on a chessboard. Useful, disposable, easily replaced. They will pretend to be your ally, mirror your emotions, and tell you exactly what you want to hear, all while orchestrating their next move against you. And the scariest part, most people never see it coming. So how do you tell the difference between a high-functioning psychopath and someone who is simply ambitious? The answer lies in patterns of behavior. A manipulator may deceive for personal gain, but a psychopath does it compulsively, without hesitation, without second thoughts. They are incapable of remorse, and their charisma is a well-rehearsed illusion. They don't just want success, they want control. And the moment you stop being useful to them, they will discard you without a flicker of hesitation. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow speaks to the darker, hidden aspects of the human psyche that we often try to suppress. These are the parts of ourselves we're either ashamed of or refuse to acknowledge. Yet they remain powerful forces in our lives. According to Jung, when we repress these elements, they don't disappear. They grow stronger and more destructive. Sometimes they surface in ways we can no longer control. The shadow represents our unconscious mind, where everything we refuse to accept about ourselves lies dormant, waiting to emerge. This includes emotions like anger, jealousy, selfishness, or even darker desires. And when left unaddressed, they can manifest in harmful behaviors. But it's not just the darkness within that's dangerous. It's the repression itself. Jung argued that this act of burying parts of ourselves creates the most dangerous individuals. Take, for instance, someone who is outwardly calm, composed, always the picture of virtue. But beneath the surface, they harbor intense feelings of resentment or inadequacy. They may never confront these feelings, keeping them buried deep within. Over time, these repressed emotions can turn into a quiet rage. A rage that seeks to destroy anything or anyone that threatens their fragile sense of self. This is the power of the shadow, silent, yet potent. Individuals who refuse to acknowledge their shadow are often more dangerous than those who are openly malicious. Their darkness is subtle, insidious, not easily visible to those around them. But when triggered, it can erupt in ways that are shocking, even to the individual themselves. Jung argued that true personal growth and transformation comes from acknowledging our shadow, understanding its power, and integrating it into our conscious lives. In society, the repression of the shadow can lead to toxic, destructive personalities who operate under the radar. These individuals are often highly adept at wearing masks. Masks of civility, charm, and respectability. They blend in, gaining trust and admiration, all the while concealing the dangerous forces within. The problem lies in our inability to detect this danger until it's too late. Consider the charismatic leader who charms their followers with promises of greatness, all the while harboring a profound sense of inferiority. The leader who manipulates their followers with promises of belonging, while secretly using them as tools to satisfy their own hidden desires. This is the manifestation of the repressed shadow. An individual who uses their unacknowledged darkness to manipulate and control those around them, often without even realizing the extent of their harm. So how do we protect ourselves from the dangers of the shadow? The key is self-awareness. By acknowledging and confronting the aspects of ourselves we'd rather ignore, we can prevent them from controlling us in destructive ways. Recognizing the shadow in ourselves and in others allows us to understand the complexity of human nature and to see through the masks people wear. Human beings have evolved to trust others. It's a survival mechanism. In a world where cooperation was key, trust was essential. It helped us build relationships, form communities, and ensure the safety of those we love. But what happens when that instinct to trust goes awry? What happens when it blinds us to the true nature of those around us? The most dangerous people in our lives often aren't the ones who appear threatening or openly hostile. They are the ones who blend in, who are charming, persuasive, and seemingly harmless. They are the ones who know exactly how to manipulate our instinct to trust. These individuals can appear as friends, colleagues, even family members. People we would never suspect of having harmful intentions. This is the illusion of trust, and it's something we all fall victim to at some point. Our brains are wired to detect patterns, to find connections, to make quick judgments about the people around us. That's why we often fail to see the dangerous ones until it's too late. We rely on superficial cues, a smile, eye contact, a warm handshake, to assess someone's character. What we don't realize is that those who are truly dangerous are experts at manipulating these cues. They know how to appear trustworthy, how to make us feel safe, even when they are anything but. One of the most dangerous traits of these individuals is their ability to mirror us. They know exactly how to act, how to speak, and how to present themselves in a way that makes us feel like they are just like us. They echo our values, our desires, and our emotions, creating an illusion of deep connection. This is especially true for manipulators who rely on empathy to gain our trust. They make us believe that they understand us, that they are on our side, that we share the same goals. In reality, they are using this mimicry to gain power, to control us, and to exploit our vulnerabilities. But why is it so difficult to detect these manipulators? Part of the reason lies in our natural tendency to give people the benefit of the doubt. We want to believe the best in others, to see them as genuine and kind. We want to believe that people are inherently good, that they share our values and our desire for connection. This positive bias blinds us to the possibility that someone might be using us for their own gain. It's easier to trust than to question, easier to believe than to doubt, and this makes us vulnerable to those who know how to take advantage of our blind spots. Moreover, manipulators often use subtle psychological tactics to maintain the illusion of trust. One of the most effective methods is gaslighting, making us question our own perceptions and judgments. By planting seeds of doubt and confusing us, they create an environment where their version of reality becomes the only one we trust. This allows them to control the narrative and keep us hooked in their web of deception. The danger of failing to recognize these individuals lies not only in the harm they cause to others, but also in the long-term damage they do to our own sense of self. Being manipulated can erode our self-confidence. It can distort our worldview. It can leave us feeling lost and disoriented. It's a slow, insidious process that often goes unnoticed until the damage is already done. So, how do we protect ourselves from this illusion of trust? The first step is to remain skeptical, not of people but of our own assumptions. We need to recognize that trust is something that must be earned, not freely given. Instead of relying on superficial cues, we should look deeper, observe actions over time, notice inconsistencies between words and behavior, and most importantly, trust our instincts when something feels off. Additionally, we need to understand the power of boundaries. Setting clear emotional, mental, and social boundaries can act as a safeguard against manipulation. By understanding our own needs and values, we can better protect ourselves from those who seek to exploit them. Ultimately, trust is a tool, not a given. It's something we must wield with caution, discernment, and wisdom. After exploring the nature of power, manipulation, and the hidden darkness within, you might be asking yourself, am I at risk? The truth is, we all are. The world is filled with individuals who are masters of disguise, who hide their true intentions behind carefully constructed facades. But the good news is, there are ways to protect yourself, to stay vigilant, and to shield yourself from the subtle influences of dangerous people. The first step in protecting yourself is recognizing the signs. Manipulative individuals don't always present themselves as overtly malicious. Often, they are charming, charismatic, convincing, but there are key red flags that can help you spot someone who may be trying to control or exploit you. One of the most common traits is an overwhelming need for control. Manipulators often attempt to dominate conversations, dictate your behavior, and impose their will on you in subtle but powerful ways. They may begin by making small requests, gradually escalating their demands until you find yourself caught in a cycle of compliance. Another hallmark of dangerous people is their ability to create dependency. They often isolate you from others, making you feel as though you need them to survive or succeed. They may feed you compliments and promises of support, only to later use those same promises to trap you. Over time, they build a sense of reliance that is difficult to break, often making you feel guilty or indebted when you attempt to distance yourself from them. This is where understanding the dynamics of manipulation becomes crucial, recognizing the emotional hooks they use to bind you to their will. But it's not just the overt control or manipulation that's dangerous. Often, the most dangerous individuals are those who prey on your weaknesses and vulnerabilities without you even realizing it. They are highly attuned to your emotions, your desires, and your insecurities, and they use this knowledge to their advantage. They might offer you exactly what you want, a sense of validation, belonging, or success, but only in exchange for something much more insidious: your autonomy, your trust, or your moral compass. The more they give, the more you become indebted, and the more you are subtly coerced into doing things that you might never have done otherwise. The key to protecting yourself from these individuals is building resilience. It's about strengthening your sense of self so that you can spot manipulation before it takes root. This starts with understanding your own values, boundaries, and needs. The stronger your self-awareness, the less likely you are to fall prey to those who seek to exploit you. Knowing what you stand for, what you will and won't tolerate, is the first line of defense. When you have a clear sense of identity, you are less susceptible to being swayed by others, especially those who prey on your doubts or insecurities. Equally important is cultivating a network of trusted individuals who can provide support and perspective. Manipulators often work in isolation, convincing you that you are alone, or that no one else understands. But when you have a strong support system, you have others who can help you spot red flags you might miss. They can provide an outside perspective when your judgment becomes clouded, and they can help you make decisions based on clarity, not emotional manipulation. The next step in protecting yourself is learning to trust your instincts. Gut feelings are often more accurate than we give them credit for. If something feels off, it's worth paying attention to that feeling. Manipulators are skilled at creating confusion, at making us question our own perceptions and judgments. But by learning to trust your own inner voice, you can begin to see through the smoke and mirrors they use to hide their true intentions. Finally, it's essential to practice emotional detachment. Manipulative people often thrive on creating emotional chaos, using guilt, fear, and anxiety to control their victims. By cultivating emotional resilience, by learning not to be swayed by their tactics, you can maintain a sense of calm and clarity in the face of manipulation. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent, but rather learning how to manage your emotions so they don't become tools for someone else's agenda. Protection also means knowing when to walk away. In many cases, the most effective defense is simply refusing to engage. Setting firm boundaries and saying no when necessary is a powerful tool against manipulation. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're dealing with someone who is charming or persuasive. But remember, the ability to walk away is one of the strongest forms of self-defense you can have. It protects not just your peace of mind, but your very sense of self. If this message has made you rethink the people around you, and if you found value in these insights, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Mirror of Being. We dive into topics that challenge the way you see the world and help you navigate it more wisely. Remember, the most dangerous people often don't show their true colors until it's too late. But with awareness, you can protect yourself and stay one step ahead. So make sure you stay tuned for daily content that will keep you thinking deeply and living intentionally. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Stay aware, stay sharp, and as always, reflect deeply.